Hey folks, here at OS Reviews, you're watching our video first look and a quick review of a portable LED projector by a company called BYINTEK, and they sell a range of mobile projectors on Amazon. They cost between $80 to $150 depending on the model and the specifications, but this one here is a pretty typical version that you'll find with a native resolution of 800 by 480, fairly typical for these low-cost LED projectors. Now, it's not going to be as powerful as more expensive ones, it's not going to be as fancy as laser or smart or even Pico projectors out there, but it does the trick for quick presentations and videos in the room or if you're on the go but in a budget. Otherwise, it does support an HDMI port, so you can plug in a laptop or a tablet and it can display that on a large screen for gaming and also watching videos, so on and so forth. So this is what the packaging is like, just as mini LED projector. It does come with a remote control that uses infrared technology, so you do have to be in a direct line of sight with the port on the projector for it to be recognized. If you are not directly within a line of sight, unfortunately the commands are not going to be registered as easily. Otherwise, it is fairly compact in design, comes in two color iterations, black and white, and it also has a fairly standard AC power plug. More descriptions are in the link in the description in the box below, and it also comes with this video output cable that converts it into this analog format with RGB. And here is the remote control itself, which is again very typical. It's pretty traditional. It comes with a T9 style D-pad on the bottom, 5-way navigation toggle, OK key, skip controls for media. It also comes with a power on-off switch and takes two AAA batteries, which are not included. But it's pretty nice in terms of the size and overall form factor. Now, the projector itself does have a very light operating system built on in, which means that it can read SD cards and USB thumb drives without having to plug in a computer or another separate smart device, so to speak. So you can read some very simple JPEG images as well as MP4 video formats, and music can be played directly on the unit. So you can just load them onto a thumb drive or an SD card, and you can, directly use it in a quick fashion. So here is the design of the projector itself. Again, it is made out of plastic, but it actually feels not too bad. It feels more solid and substantial than I was expecting on a first glimpse, and it does have this pretty interesting design on the front here. It has almost a checkerboard pattern, and this is for the speakers. It's a mono speaker. It's a little tinny, but it does work if you're watching some videos, although there is a bit of fan noise that I'll show you guys in a moment in that quick demo, but overall not really too bad in terms of design. It has this interesting boxy rectangular shape that is recurrent with the design and theme. There is a lens cap that prevents dust from entering, and you also use this part to adjust the focus, so you can kind of twist on this. Finally, there's also one for the keystone, so you can change the tilt angle depending on your angling and how far it is, again, from the wall source. Finally, there's a simple power on-off switch with an LED light, and on the back you have access to various ports, inclusive of that AC for power. There's another one for powering the unit on or off, a USB port, there's a full-size HDMI port, 3.5mm headphone jack if you don't want to use the built-in speakers, also another AV one for connecting to the RGB, infrared port, along with a more older VGA port. So that's basically it. The bottom does feature rubber feet that prevents it from sliding on a surface or a desk, and there is also a bit of a prop that you can use to set this at a more comfortable angle when you are projecting it onto a display. So next, let's take a quick look at the performance of this projector by plugging it into the wall. So here's what the screen looks like when I have it projected on a ceiling, and with some lights on the background, you can see it's partially washed out, but it still is fairly visible, and of course the effect is a lot better once I turn all the lights off. This is at a virtual screen size of about 80 inches on my ceiling right now, and it's fairly detailed and easy to see, but if I zoom all the way in, obviously I see a bit more of pixelation. So if I do a bit of testing of that, you can kind of see more grid lines and dots as I get closer to the subject. One critique of this projector immediately that I have is that you have to use a remote in order to use it. There's no other way, because to control the source and the input, there's not really a physical D-pad built onto the projector. So you have to have this, make sure you don't lose it, to set up the source and connect a computer, for instance, via HDMI. So tapping on source once, I can bring up this screen and tap on HDMI as such. Tap on OK from this connected Windows 10 laptop. You can see that text is definitely visible, especially in a darker environment. And if you're giving a presentation or watching a few quick clips with friends and family, enjoying a video, it works fairly well. The fan noise is kind of loud in the background, but if you play a bit of audio, you can definitely ignore it in time. It's not terrible, but you definitely notice some background sound to this. The built-in speaker, again, is fairly loud, but also a little bit tinny, so plugging in your own headphones or speakers is recommended for playing extended audio clips. So again, Again, if we zoom all the way in, you can see a bit more pixelation, but that's really to be expected, and performance is comparable to other projectors in the same price range. And it's actually a lot better than I expected. You can see it's upscaled the resolution pretty decently, so despite the theoretical kind of low resolution, you actually get a pretty nice looking image, and colors themselves are pretty saturated as well as well balanced, and there's not that much lag between what you do on your computer and what shows up on screen as well. So overall, it's a fairly enjoyable and easy to use experience once everything is set up. And from here, you can also go through and play slideshows, of course. You can then, maybe if you want to load through a different source, such as a thumb drive, you can load that up directly from the menu. I can also change things such as volume and also the brightness controls using the remote. So those are just a few quick things that you can check out, just from a software side of things with this projector. So at the end of the day, I would say that this projector is really middle of the road. Performance is average, certainly better than the default resolution would suggest, but the fact that it really requires you to have the remote, and there's no other way to navigate around changing sources and going through the settings is a downside that hopefully the company fixes in future generation models. However, the picture quality of the projector is good, and it's very easy to set it up with a laptop, a phone, an HDMI source, even for gaming purposes. So thanks for watching this video here at OS Reviews. This has been our video review.